All right, guys, welcome back to episode 6 of the Dunk-A-Thon podcast. Today, since there's really not much news going on in that, and since the rosters are kind of mainly set, let's kind of start breaking down each team. We'll go division by division. So, first, we'll start off in the Eastern Conference. We're going to talk about the Atlantic Division. And the first team let's dive into is the Boston Celtics, a team that was one win away from the NBA Finals last year. And yeah, they basically says let's bring back this roster that just except with the addition of Kristaps Porzingis, who they got in a 3-team trade um where they sent Marcus Smart, excuse me, don't know why I was drawing a blank there, to the Memphis Grizzlies and that. So I really like this team a lot because you're going to have a lineup of Malcolm Brogdon, uh, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kristaps, and Robert Williams. Maybe Kristaps at the 5, who knows. Um, that's a really solid starting 5. I like that a lot, especially if Jaylen Brown can have the type of year that he had in his breakout year last year. And that I really like this roster a lot. This is probably, as of right now, my number 1 seed in the East heading into next year. I'll come out with a standings podcast episode later on, probably closer to the season drop into that. So, but yeah, I mean, I really like this team. It's basically the same team minus you add Kristaps Porzingis to this roster and that take out Marcus Smart. It's basically the same exact roster. Also adding the rookies and all that, like James Najee, Jordan Walsh, and that Derek White. Well, Derek White they had last year, who was a breakout star for him in the kind of made himself known in the Eastern Conference Finals, even though they lost to Miami in 7 there. You got Peyton Pritchard. Maybe he'll take another leap. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I really like this roster a lot. Blake Griffin, a veteran leader, might not put up the points that he did, or the stat lines that he did, like in his Clippers and first couple years with the Pistons, but he'll still give you some leadership and all that off the bench and all that there. Al Horford, another kind of veteran leader, has been with the Boston Celtics before being traded to Oklahoma City and then getting traded back. But yeah, I really like this roster a lot. James Najee, maybe, like I said, maybe he'll take kind of hopefully he'll be a good little player for him in that there. Same with Walsh and that too. But yeah, I really like this roster a lot. Like I said, probably my early number 1 seed. Maybe if Tatum can have a consistent year like he did to the start of last year, because he was probably the MVP candidate to start off the year and all that, and then he kind of fell off and that. So if he could stay consistent like that, I think he could easily take home an MVP, and all that. So, but yeah, like I said, the other big thing is, can Jaylen Brown keep up his pace that he did last year? And that if he can do that, I really like this Boston team a lot. Like I said, probably my early number 1 seed, if I had to guess. And also too, you got Malcolm Brogdon still too, who's a really solid player and all that. Former actually, I'm a Rookie of the Year winner back in his rookie season and that. So yeah, I really like this team a lot. This team's going to be interesting to see how they play and all that. And also too, I mean, if they can stay healthy, this team can win a title, I think, hands down. But we'll have to see how injuries and all that happen as well. So next, let's talk about the young Brooklyn Nets. This team is going to be very interesting to see because it's a young team and all that. As you can see, the oldest uh, people on this roster is like Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Royce O'Neal, all at the age of 30. Like that's legit the oldest people, so it's kind of a young roster, and that with your only vets being 30 years old, and that's kind of crazy. I don't really expect a whole lot from this team. I mean, I think they. I'm trying to think if I would put them as a top six. I don't think I would. I think they would be a play-in team if I had to guess right now. I actually think they do need to trade Ben Simmons. He was horrible last year, and that drafted him in fantasy. Instantly regretted it. I drafted him 9th round and all that. I'm like, if Ben Simmons can kind of come around and all that, it's worth the pick where I got him. But yeah, never panned out there. But yeah, a young team that is going to be interesting to watch. A team that I'm going to maybe watch a little bit this year because I like Bridges on that team. I like Cam Johnson. That's your future. You're building around them, clearly. Same with Claxton too. You're building around Claxton as well because he's 24. You got actually Lonnie Walker, who he signed in free agency this year. Like that signing a lot. Lonnie Walker is a really good player that could really help out that team a lot. But yeah, and then you got like Dariq Whitehead, who is your 22nd overall pick. You can build around him along with Bridges and Johnson. Who else did they? Oh, Noah Cloudley. Like, see how these guys do. I would kind of focus on giving Dariq Whitehead and Cloudley minutes, and that kind of develop them, see what they can become, and that. And yeah, this team's going to be interesting. Probably would not pick them to finish last in this division. For sure, I'd say probably third. Second or third, maybe. I would actually probably go third because the team that we're going to go into next is probably going to be second. But yeah, just kind of a young team here. Like I said, would kind of like them to trade Ben Simmons, even though you probably won't get much because his value is so low. Kind of been a disappointment for a number 1 overall pick. Had a couple good years and all that with Philly, and then kind of fell off once he got traded and that. So yeah, kind of be interesting to see what they do with Ben Simmons. Like I said, hopefully they trade him. But yeah, I don't see this team being someone that goes for Dame and that, but I guess you never know. I mean, I think they have the assets to go get him and that, but I don't know if I would do that because you're probably then maybe looking at giving up Cam Johnson, maybe Mikal Bridges and then either Whitehead or Noah Conley. Like, you're probably giving up one of them and that along with maybe Bridges or Johnson. It's like, I just don't know if I would do that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't expect much out of the Brooklyn Nets this year. It's like I said, I think they can be a play-in team, but I don't see them as being a top 6 seed in the East this year. I can't see it unless the Bridges and Johnson just completely ball out, have most improved type seasons and all that. Then maybe they can, but yeah, as of right now, I don't see this team being a top 6 seed in the East right now. So sorry to all the Brooklyn fans out there. Just I don't see it at all. Um, then next, let's talk about the New York Knicks here. Kind of an interesting team here. I think they will be good, like I said. I think maybe they can squeak into that 6th seed. Maybe. Um, because you got Miles or yeah, no. You got Jalen Brunson, who's really good. You got Dante DiVincenzo, who can be really good, and that like Dante DiVincenzo is one of the more underrated guards in the NBA, I believe. He's really solid. And that you got Josh Hart, good rebounding guard, who can play the 3. And that you got RJ Barrett, who kind of was starting to find his true self last year. I feel like there. Um, you got Mitchell Robinson, one of the better defensive centers in the league. I think this team could make some noise. It just kind of depends. Like I said, I would probably put them ahead of Brooklyn. So I would probably put them at 2 in the Atlantic, probably. For sure. But it's gonna be an interesting team and all that. Like I said, I think they can squeak into that, maybe that 6th seed. That's as high as I would be willing to put them. Um yeah, I think they are a really good team, and you also got Julius Randle too, who's a really solid power forward in that. But yeah, I really like this team a lot. This is gonna be a team that I might actually watch a little bit this year of that, because I plan on getting League Pass. I plan on getting 2K, the bigger edition 2K that you get a free year subscription of League Pass. So, but yeah, it's gonna be an interesting team to watch. I think this is a team that can make some noise, like I said. Maybe not contend for an Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think they're quite there yet, but we'll see. I think it's a team that can definitely maybe upset a 5 seed or whatever in round 1, or like upset a team in round 1. That I definitely feel like. But yeah, and also too, like I keep saying, injuries will happen. So if these guys can stay mainly healthy, I think they can make some noise as a lower seed in the playoffs. I think they could, for sure. And then let's talk about the Toronto Raptors. Probably, I would say probably the 4th best team in the Atlantic, especially if they trade away Pascal Siakam and that. I think they're going to be really bad. Not. I wouldn't say like a bottom, like 2 seed. I would say maybe 3rd worst, 4th worst in the East, if I had to guess, without Pascal Siakam. I mean, it also depends too on who they get for like OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam, because OG Anunoby is also 2 on the trading block. But it's just a young team, and that build around Grady Dick and Scotty Barnes, your 2 future key stars there. I mean, you sign Dennis Schroeder, who's kind of that more veteran, even though he is 29, but this is his 11th year in the NBA. So kind of like that signing a lot, just kind of a veteran guard. I mean, it's not like a big replacement over a Fred VanVleet, who you let walk to the Houston Rockets. So it's a solid little replacement, but not one that I like a lot. I mean, Will Barton, another solid vet, 32 and all that. You got Thaddeus Young, who's 35, I believe the oldest person on this roster. But yeah, you just got a lot of young kind of guys here, like in early to mid 20s and that. Like, it's just gonna be a young team. I don't see them being this good, especially if they trade away Pascal Siakam and that. Now, if they keep Siakam in OG, I would maybe put him ahead of Brooklyn, maybe, because then maybe you would say Brooklyn's the worst team in that division. And I think maybe they can squeak into the play-in tournament and that, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if they do end up trading. Like I said, if they do end up trading OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But yeah, so I guess let's do another division real quick here. As I'm like going to the wrong thing here. I guess let's talk about the Central Division here. So let's talk about the Bulls, the Cavs, the Pistons, the Pacers, and the Bucks here. So we'll just close that out. So starting off with the Chicago Bulls, a team that I don't think will be as good in that. I mean, it's a team that I think that can compete for another play-in spot like they did last year. I just know there's a lot of hype behind this team and all that, and they did not pan out. I mean, you're not going to have Lonzo Ball again for this year. I think he's already been shut down for the year, might be shut down for his whole career, might not play another NBA game again, which is kind of sad to see. But yeah, so you're basically not looking at Lonzo this year. You got Colby White, who's been kind of a disappointment as a number 4 to number 7 overall pick back in the 19 draft. Yeah, kind of disappointment there. You got Andre Drummond, solid, just good rebounding center. Solid backup by Vucevic, who they signed to an extension, which kind of don't know if that was worth it, because the Bulls are kind of stuck in the NBA purgatory. Like, kind of just, they can't really progress any, it seems like, and all that. But, yeah, and then I mean, you got Patrick Williams, who's a really solid player, former number 4 overall pick in the 2020 draft there. You got Ayo Dosunmu, who kind of broke out at the end of last year in that a little bit. You got DeMar DeRozan, who had a really good year last year. Was borderline MVP candidate to start the year, and then kind of fell off. You signed Javon Carter as, I guess, kind of the Lonzo Ball replacement, which don't know if I really like. I don't really consider Javon Carter that good of a player. That I mean, yeah, he's a solid defender and all that, but he's not like the flashiest player out on the court by no means. Then you got Alex Caruso, who solid. It'll be interesting to see who they have be as the backup there. You got Zach LaVine, who's been subject to trade rumors, so he might not even be on the team. You got Dale Terry, who proved himself in Summer League this year. Hopefully going into a sophomore season, maybe that play in Summer League will kind of, give him confidence and all that to a really good year. You got Derek Jones Jr., solid athletic guy who can dunk and all that. So, but yeah, it's a team I don't see making a lot of noise this year. Like I said, they're kind of stuck in that NBA purgatory, kind of like almost actually kind of like how the Pistons were. They were kind of like that, like barely make the playoffs and all that. Like, they're kind of like stuck in that same boat. Then the Pistons would fall on rebuild. So I would expect maybe if they're not good by the trade deadline, maybe you see Zach LaVine, maybe you see even Vucevic and DeRozan go, and they just go full on rebuild and build around probably Patrick Williams. I mean, because you really don't have that good of a player to build around because they lost their first round pick this year in the Nikola Vucevic trade. That pick went to Orlando, which turned into, I think, Grady Dick, I believe, was that pick. Or no, not Grady Dick. Anthony Black, excuse me. Got the wrong team there. But yeah, like you don't have that solid piece to build around, I feel like, other than Patrick Williams, which and Patrick Williams has proven himself and all that. I was kind of questioning back in 2020 with that fourth overall pick, like, okay, Patrick Williams, I kind of thought, this person might have went there and that, but yeah, it's been a rough few years for the Bulls, but yeah, we'll see. But I expect this team to maybe just miss the play-in or just barely be in the play-in. Like, I expect them to be that final play-in team, if anything. If not, I think they'll just miss it. Now we move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which this team's gonna be fun to watch, I think. You got Karis LeVert, you got Evan Mobley, you got Mitchell, you got Max Strus, who you signed on a 4-year deal. I think it was either like a 3 or 4-year deal. Sign and trade. So like that a lot. This team's gonna be fun, and you got maybe the steal of the second round and Amani Bates at pick 49, so could be a really good player there. You got Isaac Okoro, who's heading into his senior season, technically. His 4th year in the NBA already. Former number 5 overall pick in the 2020 draft. You got Jared Allen, who was one of the more underrated centers last year, in my mind. So, be interesting to see what happens with him. But this team I like. I think they're clearly a top 6 seed. Probably maybe 4 or 5, I would say. Because I'm trying to think. You got Boston. You got the Bucks. You got the Sixers. And, yeah, Heat. So, I would actually maybe put them at that 5 seed. But I think they're a top 6 seed no matter what. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this team performs. I like this team a lot, even though they're in the Pistons division, so kind of really shouldn't like them, but yeah, we'll see how like Evan Mobley, how he progresses and all that. Same with also Garland, who took a big leap last year, and that arguably should have won Most Improved. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun team to watch. It's a team that I might watch a little bit this year, to be honest with you. Going to be a very, very interesting team to watch and see. Kind of a young squad that could contend, honestly, because you're looking at the oldest person being Raul Neto, who's 31 and all that, and I forgot they got Danny Green. So Danny Green at age 36, like, that's your oldest, and then you got Ricky Rubio at 32, and then Raul Neto at 31, and then you got Georges Dieng at 30. So like, you only got like 4 people 30 plus at the age of 30 plus. So that's kind of a majority young squad there, and it's a team that can make some noise, I think, too. Like I said, I'd put them as a top 5 seed. Maybe higher, depending on what injuries happen to some of the teams that I have higher than them. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting team to watch and see. So, like I said, I'd put them as a top 5 seed as of right now in the Eastern Conference for sure. Then we have my Detroit Pistons here. Very young squad. Like I said, didn't really lose no major free agents in that. Didn't really sign anybody, kind of just stayed pat. They traded for Joe Harris. as kind of just to take out a salary and all that, which you don't have to bring him back at the end of the year. So I kind of like it from that aspect because we're actually we're gonna sign no big name free agents and that. Um, even though I wanted Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets, but you know, and then we also traded for Monte Morris, um, and all that. Who's 28? He's actually from Michigan, and that born in I think Flint, I think is where he was from, and all that, or Grand Rapids, something like that. Um, but yeah, just kind of a young team and all that. With I mean, the oldest being Alec Burks at age 32, or no, it's actually I forgot Bojan at age 34, but then Alec Burks at age 32. So you look at it, only 3 people at 30 plus, and then the rest are just young guys. That so you got a lot of people to build around here, and all that. Obviously, hopefully, if Cade can stay healthy, like I said, and I think the last episode of that, if Cade stays healthy, Cade All-Star and Most Improved. That is my dark horse take coming into this year, and I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna say he stays fully healthy, and that he's put on a lot of muscle in that, which he looks incredible. And then you got a Sir Thompson who's probably gonna play the 3, assuming. And that, you got Killian Hayes, which they need to trade. Not been that good. Probably not even gonna get playing time. So he's probably gonna be like not even in a rotation. You got Jaden Ivey, who could also maybe sneak into the Most Improved race too. He was really good at his rookie year, and that could take a big leap this year in that. So you got Isaiah Stewart signed that contract extension and all that. Kind of see how that goes. Marvin Bagley, former number 2 overall pick or 3 overall pick, whatever he was, from Sacramento. Kind of hope he gets some playing time and all that because I really like Marvin Bagley, and I think he just kind of needed a change of scenery from Sacramento. So obviously Bojan might be traded. You got James Wiseman, former number 2 overall pick from the Golden State Warriors. So hopefully he gets some playing time and maybe develop him a little bit because he's only 22. So I kind of just see this Pistons team as not being a playoff team, but the highest I would have them is the play-in. I don't think they're there and all that. And I'm only saying play-in, that's assuming they stay fully healthy. Cade, Ivey, Thompson, and all that really break out. Even Marcus Sasser, if he can contribute a lot, all that. Like, that's the only way I see the Pistons being a play-in, and I'm assuming that would also mean you don't trade Bojan too, because I think if they trade Bojan and that, who was arguably our best player last year, I think they're not going to be that good. So, but yeah, I see them as maybe that final play-in team in that, but we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, I'm going to watch a lot of their games because they're a very young team and all that, plus my favorite team and all that, so kind of want to. And then, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting team to watch and see here. So, like I said, I'm hoping Cade stays healthy and all that, because if Cade can stay healthy, man, I think Cade has the skill set to be a top player in the NBA. I do. I think if he can stay fully healthy in that, and I think he could be a top player in today's NBA for sure. So yeah, that's kind of it for the Pistons there. Then we have the Indiana Pacers, who kind of a really solid team last year for not being that good. That for the roster. And that you got Halliburton, who's one of the uh, biggest up and coming stars in today's NBA. Kind of wish the Pistons would have took him back in that draft, um, but it is what it is. There. Then you had Benedict Mathern, who really shined as a rookie. Former number 6 overall pick last year. Was kind of in the running for 6th man of the year. He was incredible off the bench for him. They actually just traded for Obi Toppin a couple weeks ago. So see how that goes. I think it's a good fit. Kind of a guy that just kind of needed a change of scenery and that. So hopefully he'll be good there. Andrew Nebhart, who kind of broke out last year, the former number 31 overall pick in the 2022 draft. So kind of had some shining moments there. You got them their first round pick, Jarris Walker, and that, who I think is going to be a really good player this year in his rookie year. I think kind of who I wanted the Pistons to take at pick 5, but it is what it is. So I think he'll have a really good year, a good defender and all that. And then you have like TJ McConnell and all that. Then their big free agent acquisition, Bruce Brown, who really proved himself in the playoffs last year and all that. And oddly enough, a former Piston. But yeah, really like that fit there. Be interesting to see how he fits in there. Aaron Nesmith, who solid little player there. Hopefully he kind of, has a good year and all that. But yeah, then you got Miles Turner, which kind of that player that's been on the trade block for quite a while now. So we'll see if finally he gets traded. And then they also traded for Daniel Theis last year, so be the backup to Miles Turner there. And then you have Oscar Tshiebwe, who was a undrafted free agent signing, which could be a really good undrafted free agent signing there for him. So, but yeah, kind of a team that I could see being good and all that. I didn't really get my rankings for this. I think the Bucks will finish 1 if I had to rank these teams. Then the Cavs. Trying to think. Then it's probably between the Bulls. Damn, I don't know. I'd maybe put the Pacers as 3rd in that division. Then maybe the Bulls, and then maybe the Pistons still is how I would rank that division. But I don't know. It's kind of a tough division because a lot of these teams aren't that good. Like 3 out of the 5 or whatever aren't that good. So yeah, I don't know. Because like I said, it's easily Bucks Cavs. That's 1-2. Then, like I said, then maybe you put the Pacers, then the Bulls, then the Pistons. Like, I don't know though. I could see the Pistons being 4th in that division. It's hard telling. So it's kind of not really a good division outside of the top 2. But and then we talk about the Milwaukee Bucks team that I think will still finish first in this division. Arguably, maybe get the 1 seed in the East. Kind of brought back the same team that you brought back Brooke Lopez, brought back Chris Middleton. Who else did they bring back? Anyone else? They signed Malik Beasley, which another solid bench piece for him, which I like a lot. You got Bobby Portis there, who can be a solid bench piece for him. Drew Holiday, really good defender. You got Robin Lopez, who they signed to. Jay Crowder, who they traded for. back in February there. You got Goran Dragic, who they signed, and all that. So yeah, it's a really interesting team. I think they're gonna be really good again. That especially Giannis stays healthy and all that. If their core stays healthy of Giannis, Middleton, Holiday, like if them stay healthy and all that, they can be really good. And that so possibly an NBA Finals contender and all that. We'll see how first year head coach Adrian Griffin does with that team after they fired Mike Budenholzer last year. So see what happens there with that. But yeah, it's a really solid team. Not much to say. Didn't really make that many adjustments and all that. Like I said, brought in Beasley, Robin Lopez, and all that. Like solid little ads there. Just kind of depth pieces that they added and all that. Other than it's the same exact team brought back, and I think it's a team that's obviously they're gonna contend and all that. Like so, but yeah, I think that pretty much does it there. So just kind of a short little 30-minute episode or so, whatever. But yeah, so follow us on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Dunk-A-Thon Pod. And we'll be back Wednesday, probably do the last division of the East, and then maybe another division, or one more on our first division in the West, kind of just continue that. And if any other free agency news or whatever happens, obviously bring it to you. So yeah, I think that pretty much does it. Have a good one, guys. Bye.